Yeah, there seems to be a little resurgence in the topic of cloning out there in the zeitgeist. I've been seeing a lot of really good. One channel that I've been getting into a lot is Black Balloon, which I'll provide a link to and mention because I heavily recommend going to his channel and seeing all his stuff because he's got some great work. But around 10 years ago, Donald Marshall, who's also mentioned by this channel Black Balloon in a lot of exposing videos, but this guy Donald Marshall spoke out about being part of these cloning facilities and writing songs for these hit artists and uncovering a lot of stuff about this cloning. And he's basically living impoverished and has nothing to gain through all of this. So it's very interesting to look into that channel, but let's get into it. We see all these rappers coming out that they're clones, that they have clones. Kid Boo mentioning Clonaid, and actually has videos of him and one of his clones side by side in a video, and they're kind of just waving it in front of our faces at this point. But as we know, Dolly the sheep cloned in the early 1900s, and this technology has been around for a while now, and they've just been perfecting it. And according to Donald Marshall, they're actually getting a little bored with it at this point. The fact that it's gone on so long and so much nastiness and corruption has been at work, the horror of Babylon is heavily at play. And if they were to expose what's been going on right now, there would be a mass cognitive dissonance. Everyone would freak out. They'd be like, why am I going to work when there's reptilians feeding on children every day? So it's very touchy. I find it so obvious that rappers like Eminem, Gucci, Kanye, they've all been cloned and their clones are running amok now. Gucci doesn't look anything like he did before he went to jail. Voice isn't the same, personality isn't the same. And they're just letting these synthetics run among us and basically test them out in public and stuff. And something interesting was Hillary Clinton, when she had that little freak out about the chai, when that reporter got in her face and she turned all bobbleheaded and like had this glitch. It makes a lot more sense to me that that was her clone having a little glitchy poo rather than that be like Hillary herself. And according to Donald Marshall, Hillary purposely let her clone out in the public because apparently these people are actually trapped in cloning facilities and they want out. Isn't that wild? There's things I'll be sharing that have already been shared. Nothing is new under the sun, but it made me think of the concept of the soul, kind of getting back into the cloning thing, because as a general layman, you think that you can't replicate a person because the body has a soul, and how can you make something that doesn't have a soul? And I found that it's doable, and that's why there's so much NPC talk and, like people that just don't have anything behind their eyes. There are people out there that do not have original God creator energy, you know what I'm saying? And it also makes me think of Blade Runner and how this newer one with Gosling, amazing movie, but it just straight up throws it in our face and kind of softens the blow when it becomes more public. Replicants, replication, duplication. Apparently, there's a difference. Replication is when you actually have a clone from a baby and it grows up. Duplication is when you're able to literally just make a copy of somebody at the age they're at. So apparently, there are different types of cloning as well. And we can't forget about Star Wars, Attack of the Clones, we're in the modern Clone Wars. it seemed so just, like irrelevant that they made a clone army and it was in a cloning facility run by gray aliens. So, but it's all becoming a little bit fucked up now that time goes on. Now let us sashay over into something that I haven't heard talked about that much. That was originally brought up by rapper Kid Buu, which is basically a playoff of Dragon Ball Z. Um, Buu was an antagonist alien character, which I don't know if that has any significance with his cloning past, but brings up Clonaid, which is an American-based human cloning organization registered as a company in the Bahamas. Founded in 1997, it has philosophical ties with the UFO religion Raelism, which sees cloning as the first step in achieving immortality. On December 27, 2002, Clonaid's chief executive, Bridget Beausoleil, claimed that a baby clone named Eve was born. Media coverage of the claim sparked serious criticism, an ethical debate that lasted more than a year. Florida attorney Bernard Seeger tried to appoint a special guardian for Eve and threatened to sue Clonaid because he was afraid that the child might be treated like a lab rat. Siegel, who heard the company's actual name was Clonaid, decided that the Clonaid project was a sham. Bioethicist Clara Alto condemned Clonaid for premature human experimentation and noted the high incidence of malformations and thousands of fetal deaths in animal cloning. And so, let us go into Raelism, headed by Frenchman Claude Vorilhon. And this guy is your standard cult leader. He started off in France as a radio prospect, so he was scouted for talent in France and became a radio voice, and eventually then went into music, where he released a few singles. And clearly his music career was a bust, and so he moved into the cult industry, where he propounded that, is that a word? That the Elohim, an ancient race of aliens, used DNA manipulation to start the human race, which is not a new theory. Like Zachariah Sitchin, the 12th planet, who is claimed to be a reptilian himself, by Arizona Wilder, who is interviewed by David Icke. You can look that one up. David Icke interview with Arizona Wilder. And she was basically like a mother goddess in witchcraft, groomed to be like a mother for demon babies, and she got out of that. But anywho, that theory was hijacked by this Cloud, who referred to himself as Rael, who is like a messenger angel. So he's just kind of like hijacking on the Bible and ancient figures. But Claude Maurice Marcel Vorihon, sometimes referred to as Maitreya Rael, and Maitreya is a bodhisattva who is regarded as the future Buddha of this world in all schools of Buddhism, is a French journalist and religious leader who founded and leads the Raelian movement, an international, which is an international UFO religion. He was also involved in auto sports broadcasting, where he created a magazine called Auto Pop. So it's like he goes from journalism to being some religious figure, and that's shady. Kid Buu dolls up this movement, saying, so it sounds like he was groomed within this movement as kind of like an impoverished boy from Florida, and he was given all these secrets and spiritual tinglies and whatnot, and they made a clone of him. He said they used some sort of fragment in the forehead, like the third eye region, that that holds memory, which was something I found quite interesting. I'm nervous to play any clips here because everything is copyrighted and freaking gate kept nowadays, but here's a little clip of Kid Buu
today, right now. So I'll wait. About the clone being fake, I thought I was lying about being cloned. Yo, come over here. Sure you want me to do this? Yeah, fuck that shit. Go ahead. What y'all gotta say now? You see him. We got the same tattoos, same hair, same genetic structure. Look at my clone. Go ahead. What you gotta say now? I mean, I'll wait all day. We gonna go live, bro. I mean, we gonna go viral. We gonna go real viral on this one. Fuck everybody who doubted us.
explaining that whole thing. This also leads into Kodak Black, the Trump relation, the facilities. You know, it's like, why would our president care at all about any of these rappers unless they have some sort of, you know, alternative mission? And apparently Kodak's was to be some sort of assassin, some sort of political assassin. You know, that shit's crazy. We can't forget to mention Tila Tequila, who is one of the forerunners of this, as well as B.O.B. on speaking out about cloning. There's been a lot of people think Tila Tequila is some sort of gray alien in disguise, which I can see. You know, anyone who'd be riding a Sibian like that on Howard Stern needs to have a second look at him, if you ask me. But she's had some very exposing, lucid statements about this whole facility, and she was one of the people that's originally spoken out, and I'll include a clip here on that.
You know what? Since you're fucking with my program, darling, Queen Elizabeth, and the pedophilia ring, and the cloning centers. That's right, darling, the cloning centers. Parents, listen to me right now. They are blocking me, but that is quite alright. They're blocking me, but that's quite alright. Because I have many, many other forces. I should not say their names right now. We have many big plans to expose all of you disgusting, sadistic fucks. Okay? That is all. I shall save that for another time. But, however, I shall repeat. That was just an introduction to the reptilian family leading all the way back. They call themselves the black nobility. Now that is just one part of it. Alright? Black nobility, the reptilian family resides all the way back from ancient times, so which they think, they feel like they are the divine chosen ones. From whom, may I ask? Definitely not God, our creator of the world. Reptilians. They feed on bloodlust, children, the pedophilia ring, recently busted. Oh, it's been going on for centuries. Parents, listen to me carefully. I don't care if I'm popping up. I shall continue this and not alone on this battle. Believe that. Believe that I am not alone on this battle. I started out alone, but I'm marching with millions, okay? So sit your old ass down, okay? Because you're going to croak over, but it doesn't matter to you anyway because you're all ancestral fucks who interbreed ancestral fucking, and then you, oh, don't let me go talking about cloning those children and all those missing children's parents, listen to me carefully. Hundreds of missing children come up every year. You wonder, why? How could it be? And then there's the so-called, CPS or whatever they're called. They come and take your children just for nothing, right? Not to discredit everybody, because not everybody's bad. I'm talking about the bad people.
And why any of this, you might ask? Why so much pedophilia? Why so much debauchery? Why so much evil? Because the ancient war hasn't ended, folks. It simply went underground, and they've given us bread and circuses on the surface, and we've fallen asleep to the whole shebang. And it seems here that DNA is the key to a lot of this evil science, and it's a key to a lot in general. I recently got back into Assassin's Creed to lighten things up a little bit. Assassin's Creed Unity, which I forgot how frickin' cryptic Assassin's Creed was. I don't know if a bunch of Freemasons created it or what, but Unity, Assassin's Creed Unity, is a very revealing in the DNA exploration, where it brings up how before the double helix model became popular, there was a triple helix model that was believed to be true prior to that. And the game plays on, like, we're trying to discover that third strand and, like, the ancestral DNA and all that. And that begs the question, what if there is a little third strand in there that connects us to the spirit? And that's what's been attacked, and that's something that's been heavily misinformed upon. And these celebrities sign their contracts and don't look into the fine print and see that they are selling themselves as brands and selling their image to be used as duplicates in any way, fashion, literally. And so a lot of celebrities become scared and try to speak out as they can. Like, I hear a lot about Lauren Hill, Ms. Lauren Hill of the Fugees, basically just freaking out every time she was brought to one of these cloning centers. And so it kind of makes me beg the question, like, why they just let her go, because I guess they just, like, according to Donald Marshall, they didn't activate her and she couldn't have normal dreams, whatever that means. Maybe that was the punishment, is that she could never, like, have a normal dream again because her clone was, like, linked to her. And Donald Marshall also mentions how clones can be linked to their hosts through REM sleep, which is terrifying because it's like, do you ever have those dreams where you feel like you're literally traveling and you're in some other body or whatever? And that kind of is like, okay, maybe we all have a little clone out there somewhere. And that also leads to the whole 23andMe and the Ancestry.com. I always wondered, it's like, how can they accurately link you to any of your ancestors through that DNA if they don't have the original DNA from your ancestors? So it's like, seems like sort of a dead end. And what it also seems is that they're harvesting our DNA for whatever purposes they use. They use discarded body parts from hospitals for cloning. It's like they're doing it all under our noses. And It's just like we can't fathom that they would do something this evil, and sadistic. Imagine how much money these old depraved fools would pay to get a clone of Britney Spears or Christina Aguilera and do what you will with them and not have to worry about the consequences, and you just dispose of the clone afterwards and they got six others ready to go. It's crazy, but can you put it past these people that are bored and have nothing else to do with their money except hang out at the cloning centers, which are described also as gladiator rings where they just observe these Hunger Games like fights. There was a recent movie, I forget the name of it. Ah, I'll bring it up here once I find it, but it's based on this like Georgia girl who becomes looped into this like Hunger Games fight, and she's like smarter than everyone else and like realizes it's all like a fake city where they're all just being toyed with. And these people do like these shows and movies, it's the predictive programming. How else are they going to slowly leak it in other than through the entertainment that we're always consuming? And this movie was, I remember there was some sort of controversy and it was taken down off of like Amazon Prime, so I got it just in time. But you got to check this movie out as well. Dennis from Always Sunny is in it, so he provides a little comedic relief for the boys. But I'm going to wrap things up with Donald Marshall, who is the true inspiration behind this and who is a soldier that was basically shouting into the darkness at the time. And I don't know where that boy is these days, but I hope he's found his peace and his catharsis.
They're not spiritual, mystical, or anything. It's pretty sick. But I'll tell you about that in a second. First, I wanted to tell you about the cloning stuff, okay? Now, human cloning, I have to tell you, it's been done since at the end of World War II, okay? I'll tell you how they got it and the whole shebang, like 33rd degree Freemason knowledge. I'm probably going to die for this somewhere along the lines. It's not good. Okay. Picture this. I'm memory repressed about everything. Couldn't remember anything. I'm still getting side effects from this. I was memory repressed about the cloning stuff until I was 30 years old. They call it the awakening when they give you back the memories. Turns out they had me there since I was 5 years old. Okay, and my family is there, my family members and everything, and they said they're not going to lie on a lie detector test about it. It's pretty big. Like they were going to kill me. They said. Thing is, the way that this cloning works. Okay, there's two different kinds of cloning, and it confuses people. Now there's replication cloning where it comes up as a baby, right? Put the cells in, make the same person as a baby. Well, there's duplication cloning as well, where they grow you in a big, thick tank, fill it full of water. And well, there's a few different grades of cloning. There's Mark 1 to 4 that I know of. And the problem I'm having is with the Mark 2. Thing is, Mark 1 was around at the end of the World War II, but it was a primitive clone, lots of side effects.
Is that a reference to
Yeah.
Merck Pharmaceuticals?
I don't know.
Okay.
Anyway, this is even on the net. Before I started blasting on the net about this, somebody said something about the Mark 1 to 4 clones, and the first one being called an organic robotoid. And that's what it was called, even though there's no robotic parts in it at all. Anyway, Mark 2 is an REM-driven clone. Okay, now what that means is when you go to sleep, the Illuminati, this is their main form of communication too. They don't call people on the phone. They don't meet at the Bohemian Grove anymore. Since they got cloning, they meet at the cloning station when they go to sleep. Each of them, I don't know how they do it exactly, okay, or else I'd know how to block it. But they can transfer your consciousness into a clone at the cloning station if they have a clone of you. And they used to have to use a tissue sample from you, or I guess they said the cells from a woman's pap smear is like really rich in the cells to make one of these duplicate clones. They used to use kids' foreskins that were discarded at the hospital that got removed. That's what happened to me. But now they said they've upgraded the technology in the last 10 years, so now they only need blood. What they used to do with the tissue, well, they could also, they used to set this little oil drill looking thing over a person's forearm, strap their arm to a chair. And this drill, it had things on it that opened up, right? Now, it would go in, and when it spun, these things would open up. But then when it stopped, the things would close again. Now this is done. It goes in, comes out, in, comes out. And what it was doing, it has to agitate the tissue. They told me when I was a kid, to a certain degree. I guess, like they said, the easiest way to tell a person in layman's terms about it is, you know, when you have a hangnail and you pull it off, and the white stuff that accumulates inside, and eventually it'll form like a scab and new skin, and it'll grow over. Well, to get that white stuff to really work good, they agitate the tissue a certain amount of times. Now they just agitate blood from like a blood sample even. And yeah, cloning is very prevalent. It's like a secret thing among the like elite. They use it for their crazy stuff. You name it, they've done it. Like jump off cliffs, everything. I know all about it. The thing was, when I was memory repressed, I was seeing other people becoming unmemory repressed, and I hated this place and these people. It's a bunch of scumbags doing nasty things to each other, right? Like, there's privileged ones there, and there's underprivileged ones there, and so people are pretty mean on people. And well, I wanted them to do the awakening on me, so I could go to the cops and get the cops on them. Well, the thing is, they are the cops too. Like, this is the linchpin in how the Illuminati NWO works, because like most of the leaders from the G20 countries go there, about 14 of the G20 countries, and then there's leaders from countries that don't even fit in the G20 that go there too, right? And cloning, it's really normal. Well, Britney Spears made a video about this place, because thing was, to get advertised and promoted and stuff, she had to basically sell her clone, use of her clone at the cloning center. So the thing was, she signed up right away thinking, yeah, sure, I'll be famous. Well, thing is, they wanted to use her every night. Old men and stuff, old men and clones on her, and real people on her clones too. So she doesn't have dreams anymore. Oh, they make songs and stuff about this all the time, about stuck in the dreams, and Freddy Nightmare on Elm Street is based on this. Avatar is based on this too. They do it all the time, communicate this way, but the thing is, cloning is a flawed technology this way, because your mind isn't the same. You're more, it's kind of like, you know, how, did you ever see Pet Sematary by Stephen King, the movie?
Yeah.
Where they bury it and they come back whack? Well, they're almost as bad as that, and this is only one aspect of what they do. This is the biggest expose on the Illuminati guys ever, what they do, secret, right? Because the thing being, how I know is because I acted very loyal to them when in my 20s, right? Well, the thing was, if you don't act compliant there, they will beat the hell out of your clone, and it hurts just like real life. Right, like this, and they can turn it up to the pain threshold on a remote control. They have everything down, and people are scared to talk about this because of the lizard aspect and the fact they can just keep cloning you and torturing you and torturing you and torturing you. New body, because they make multiples of people. Some people are grown in the tank with deformities, and they just scrap those ones, throw them in the chipper. But the other ones, they keep them for backup bodies until they wear out the first one. Sex-wise, you know, I'm not trying to be vulgar or anything, but they do a lot of vulgar stuff there.